Hi folks, welcome to Blue and Gold Talk, the video on the channel. If you're new here, I usually just throw out random talk, but I'm gonna do the post game this way, guys, because I didn't do the pre-game. I have a deadline to meet and it has to be by tonight, and I have to get up there and finish. So forgive the attire, I got to get back up to what I got to do. And look, this is a heartbreak. This is not a good night to be a Sabres fan, but at least we get to get our hopes up a little. Right now, this one sucks. This really, really sucks that we didn't squeeze this one out, because I think we needed this one. I just feel we needed this one, guys. I won't blame the home ice on this one, and not even so much the back-to-back. I believe the Jets played yesterday, right? If I'm correct. I was sleeping through the first period, so I missed the first. But what I seen of the game in that third, it was tied 2-2, and Jim was texting me, and I said, you know what, I am going to, after they tied us, I got to go. I got stuff I got to do in the basement, the regular stuff, so I can get back up to my project. And guys, something's funny. I had my own garbage to take out because they're going to do the trash. So I come back up and I hear score, and I hear the fans cheering. I didn't realize there's so many Jets fans in the building. I thought the Sabres took the lead. And I don't hear the foghorn going off. I'm like, uh-oh, and I check, it's 3-2. I'm like, oh. So I came back up to get my garbage right in time to hear the Jets take the lead. And I said, I don't even want to watch anymore. We'll just see what happens. Then I got a text, empty net goal. I'm like, oh my goodness. What pisses me off, guys, about the loss, and I know it means nothing to some of you, but to me it means a lot. Don't give them 2 freebies. Granato, please stop that. Granato must be the #1 coach in the league for giving up bad empty net goals, because that can kill the momentum of a team. Do not, they won the game 4-2. Put the goalie back in and suck it up. Do not go and let them have a field day with empty netters after that to match the goals we scored all night. That pissed me off. That did. We got to stop doing that, guys. Now, heartbreaking loss. My best advice in this one as a fan, just cheer the boys on. Don't get caught up with the playoffs. That's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to get caught up with the playoffs, guys. I'm just not. As much as I was checking it and I was playing all the scenarios in my head when the Sabres are winning in this third period, I was thinking, my goodness, if they win this one, we're really rolling, and we let it slip out of our fingers. And that, folks, has been the story of this season. I don't know how many times I've said it on the channel. This season has all the makings of a 500 season. I hope I'm wrong. I want to get a winning season out of this, no matter what happens. It's important to me as a fan, because I've seen most of their seasons all my life, and I don't want this to go in the record books as a losing season. They have a chance now to have back-to-back winning seasons. When's the last time we can say that, guys? So let's jump on at least that this year. But it sucks, because this one feels like that kind of crucifies the playoff hopes. It feels like that. I could be wrong, but they're going to have to get on a winning streak, because now we're back to 500 with 2 less games on the schedule. And that hurts. It does hurt. But at the same time, guys, anything can happen in 20 games. I'm just going to hope that the boys go something like, 13-3-4 down the stretch, and hope that 10 games over gets us in, Something like that. 15-5. There's going to be some overtime losses. So let's put 2 overtimes in there. They'd have to go, honestly, probably 14-4 and 2 wouldn't be good enough. They have to go, if they're going to have a shot at the playoffs from this point on, because of this loss, this really sucks, this loss. This really mathematically hurts our chances. They got to go like 15-3-2 the rest of the year. And I know that's a stretch. Believe me, I know that's a stretch. But this is why we have a thing called games. We have to play them. So let's see what happens down the stretch. See if they make us proud. Let's see if they just make us happy with their effort and their fight down the stretch. We got to keep Robinson on this team, guys. Okay, we got to keep this guy. I like his grit. There's things I like about him. And I think he needs a better shot than what he's been given on this team so far. Don't keep getting these guys in trades and trying them out temporarily, and and then putting them in the Amerks and then calling them up, and Amerks and calling them up. Like, I would say give him a fair shot. We have 20 games left. I would have Robinson up the rest of the year. And I would move out Okposo at the deadline. Deadline's coming up. I'd move on from Gergensons. I would give these guys a shot somewhere on a playoff team, both of them, if they want to go. If they're open to the idea of moving and get some draft picks for it. We're not going to get much, but draft picks are still draft picks. And move on from some of the older core now, guys. We have to do it by, the 8th? So we have to make a decision. We have to make it soon. We can't just keep being nice guys. I think it's time that we just move on out with some of the players. I wouldn't move on from Middlestat. I think that'd be a mistake. I do. I think that would be a mistake. Settle it. We've got the cap space. Get them signed. If you're going to move on from anybody, move on from some of our guys that are in the minors that we can move on from. Not, I wouldn't say Kulik, but there's some guys we can, package in a deal and get something at the deadline. I think it's more important for most of you fans. I think it's fair to say this because, number one, you think I'm delusional, not giving up on the playoffs. Number two, you've been dying for a change all year. And number three, you're probably frustrated as hell with the season. That's what 500 seasons do, folks. They make us feel like this. This is how we feel in 500 seasons. They're the worst because there's nothing to be excited about in the draft and there's nothing to be excited about in the season. So you're left like this, But I still want to get a winning season out of this season. I want to move on from some of our vets. This would be a perfect time to sit them down and say, look, we're not going to get in. Hypothetically, they could have this conversation. Odds are thin we're getting in this year. We'd like to give you guys a shot somewhere and, move on. Move on from them, honestly. The Rangers aren't interested in Okposo. Okay, get something back. Get some sort of youngster. He might just come on this team and be the next Mike Pekka. You never know what you're going to get in a deal, guys, till you make it. It's like Gretzky said with shots. You score in 0% of the shots you don't take. Well, you score in 0% of the deals you don't make too. So we can make deals for these guys. It's not going to affect this team at all whatsoever, I don't think. Maybe the dressing room a bit will hurt, because they're going to miss the vets. I mean, look, the younger guys wanted for sure to make the playoffs this year for those guys. I get it, but if it's not in the cards, then we've got to move on from them now. And I think now is the time. So we got to move on from these vets. I don't think getting a goalie's the idea. I just don't think we've got Levi in the works. We got a very healthy Luukkonen. And yes, Luukkonen let in a softie to cost us that game. I'm not blaming him. We, if anything, as a team, should have rallied around Luukkonen tonight and won that game. Okay? Somehow, some way. So Luukkonen has been a godsend this year. A godsend. So no complaints about Luukkonen with that wrister he let in. No. You've seen how pissed off he was at himself. He knew he should have had it. He's been so in the zone. It's okay. It's forgivable. If it wasn't for Luukkonen, we wouldn't even be talking about a possibility of a playoff team this year. You know what I mean? We're still alive technically because of Luukkonen. If you take away Luukkonen this year, we're probably right there with Ottawa right now. So anyway, I want to get back to talking about what we can move in, move out, because it's important. The deadline's around the corner. We've got to make moves, I believe, guys. Do we move on from roster pieces? I don't know. If they move on from Middlestat, there must be something going on behind the scenes we don't know about, because it wouldn't make sense. We've always signed our young core along the way, and he's developed into one of them now. He's a centerman. It just doesn't make sense to me that they would move on from him. I mean, we're not going to move on from high-end guys like Cousins and Tage. I mean, those are high-end players, okay? But Middlestat's proven to be a very reliable hockey player for this team. I mean, he is, unless he's thinking he's going to get like 7-8 million, that could be what's going on, is the negotiations are way, way off. And if Middlestat thinks he's worth like 7-8 million, yes, get him out of here. No, I'd give him 5. I would give him 5, 5.5. Sorry, not more than that. He's just not a 30-goal guy. You get paid to score in this league too, You get paid to score goals. 30-goal guys. I mean, we overpaid for Olofsson, but those were desperate times. Let's not forget that. We're not in desperate times no more. this rebuild has went pretty smooth except for this season. If we would have won 6 more games right now, we would all be thrilled with this rebuild, wouldn't we? Say 5 more games. 5 of those games this year that we lost, if we would have won them, we'd be very thrilled about this team right now. Let's keep that in mind. This team is not as bad as a lot of people are making it out to be, okay? Move on from some of the vets. John, I would say yes with Johnson also. I'd let him go. You know, as much as I like having those kind of vets around that have Stanley Cup rings, it just hasn't felt like a good fit. I know he struggled at times, and I think he's just at the end of his career. I don't think the guy's like terrible or nothing. I think he's just at the end of his career. And this is a very young, fast hockey team. So we've got to get back in deals. So if we're going to get somebody that's a vet, I'd say somebody between 27 and 30. We don't want to get guys 36, 37. We want to get guys 27, 28, 29, 30 that can help this team. And I think a forward, I'd be very open-minded to getting another forward in the lineup. And if we're going to trade Middlestat, we better get back a first-round pick. That's all I know. We better get back a first-rounder for this guy in a deal somehow, some way. Or get back a high-end player, and we had to give up one of our first-rounders with Middlestat in a package deal, a big trade. So if the Sabres can swing that, we'll see. We'll see. We're not there. But I think they are going to do something at the deadline. I'd be surprised if Adams just sits on his thumbs and does nothing. I'm expecting something to happen at the deadline. So tonight sucks. We're a 500 team right now. A quarter of a season's left, basically, and we start playing those games very soon. We'll see what happens down the stretch. But the other thing is we got to think about next year too, guys. We do. We have to think about next year and the years to come, because this team's going to be better next year. They're going to be older next year. And we've got to have this thing ready, more ready for next year. I think we need a coaching change, but I don't think it's going to happen. So if we're not going to have a coaching change, and if you notice today, the boys eased up physically in that game. They did. But so did the Jets, actually. Both teams were, I think the Jets played yesterday, if I'm right. Both teams were a little tired, I think. But at the same time, when the Sabres had that lead I just thought maybe they're going to get this done. Although they've been so damn good in the third, they were due for something bad in the third to happen also. So it's one of those games. We scored early and we lost late. That's a rarity for us all year if you look at it. Done, guys. I got things I got to do. I got to get out of here. I'll see you guys tomorrow. I'm going to start uploading this, and I'll probably put it out around midnight when I get back in. See you tomorrow, guys.